Like a distant memory. AOA podcast starting off with some Arctic Monkeys on a Friday episode. For the live people, apologize for the tardiness. All the podcasts used to start on time before I had kids, and then kids, and then time meant nothing. Speaking of time, an old timer, Ozzy Osbourne, crushing Kanye right now. We'll explain why. Wolf Blitzer almost blows chunks on CNN live on the air. That was a fun one to watch. I'll have the clip for you. Vince McMahon's got some more accusations stacking up against him. We got to update you on Drake. We got to update you on Tucker and Vlad. What was the next topic? I can't remember. And neither can Joe Biden. See, it's just a bit and scene. Biden's memory apparently not doing all that well. And the brothel mom hunter, maybe the most fun and bizarre story of the podcast. And we have saved it for last. All that and more is coming up on this episode. Remember when I did that I can't remember thing? That was good. I enjoyed that. It's going to make the highlight reel, I think. Ozzy Osbourne versus Kanye West. It is trending right now, blowing up as we speak. About 2 hours ago or so, Ozzy Osbourne sent out a scathing tweet. I mean, it was a tweet, but I feel like if we were like a news outlet, if we were like mainstream media, we'd be like, oh, the scathing tweet from Ozzy Osbourne. Although I will tell you, he does rip Kanye. He says, and I quote, Kanye asked permission to sample a section of a 1983 live performance of Iron Man from the U.S. festival without vocals and was refused permission because he is an anti-Semite. Ozzy tearing him down. Anti-Semite. Next thing you know, the dentists are going to want their own schools. All right, enough of the Seinfeld references. Come on, serious journalism. Pull it in. Because he is an anti-Semite and has caused untold heartache to many. He went ahead and used the sample anyway at his album listening party last night. I want no association with this man. Listen, I know Ozzy's up there in age. I just don't think that you should mess with the Prince of Darkness at any age. You know what I'm saying? When you get the nickname the Prince of Darkness, when one of your legacy historical moments is biting the head off of a bat, maybe don't pick a fight with that guy. Maybe leave that guy alone a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's like, I'm not going to bother that person a little. If he says no to me taking his song, then I won't take his song. That's what I'm just saying. I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if there's going to be anything else to follow, or I don't know if he can sue him. I don't know what Kanye's thinking either, because, it's like you definitely need permission. You could be sued. You could be, I guess he's got a ton of money. He doesn't really care. I just think Kanye needs help. I think Kanye needs a nap, some help, some medical assistance with the mentalness. And a nap. Did I mention a nap? A nap can go a long way. Let's not act like naps aren't helpful. They're pretty stellar. They are pretty stellar. I love a good nap. Ye can F off, says Paul. Robin, I've seen Ozzy a few times. But I've never seen Ozzy. Everybody I know who has seen Ozzy, up until the last tour, which is, I don't even know how old. I'll say the same thing. The guy still has it. Uh-oh. Bird got her X account suspended today, but it was worth it. I'm still giggling. Was it a funny comment? Or did your significant other talk about showing their butthole too much? Because that happened to somebody I know. Me. Cuddles got us kicked off of TikTok Live because of the butthole remarks. And I don't know if we're ever going back, to be honest with you. Wolf Blitzer was doing an interview with somebody who I can only assume has the body of children buried in his backyard. I mean, this guy is such a creeper. I don't know who it is. Excuse me. But I've seen him before on CNN. He has very strange hair. He has the kind of hair that looks like somebody drew on their iPad. You just like draw marker iPad, iPad marker like on something. That's what it looks like. He's a correspondent. He's contributed to CNN before. I know that. But man, he weirds out your old pal Ant. I don't care for him. And he was involved in this clip because Wolf Blitzer was talking to him. They were discussing, I don't even know who gives a shit. It's CNN. And Wolf, I'm going to play the clip for you. This is on Nick Gilroy's X account. So credit him for filming his TV. Or from Kimberly, as it's credit on X here. I'm bringing it up on the screen for everybody. He keep a look on his face here. He just it looks like he's about to like blow chunks. Oh, here we go. Nice and big. Look at that. Okay. With their minds completely made up, of course, keep an eye on the weird haired pedophile guys talking. Wolf's just thinking, I need a bucket. I need a bucket. I need a bucket. Ooh, tried to say something. Don't open your mouth, Wolf. It's going to come out. Breathe. Breathe. Lean forward a little bit. Act calm. Eyes are going down. Lots of swallowing. Lots of swallowing. Oh, baby, swallow it, Wolf. Keep it in. Then we get a little little jowl movement. Ooh, little jowl movement. Ooh, that was like whoop. And then they cut to this guy. Look how creepy his hair is. What are those? Are those hair follicles or tree trunks? Honestly, it's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. And then this guy doesn't even stop talking. He doesn't shut up. And then watch this. Boom. They're going to cut right to commercial in the middle of pedophile hair's statement. He's in the middle of a sentence. And then they just go right. Boom. Right to commercial. That's the best clip I've seen all day. It's the best clip that I have seen all day. Well, I did see Drake's penis. But other than that, that one was just a... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Hey, and the guy talking to Wolf is recovering from cancer. I feel like I'm going to throw up now. I wish I would have known that. Where were you 5 seconds ago, Paul? Where were you before I started saying the insensitive things to the cancer recovery person? That feels rough. I'm going to have to do a handwritten apology after the show for that one. I hope he doesn't see my... So is that a wig? Is he wearing a wig then? Because I'm going to feel bad about that for the rest of the weekend. The only thing that could help me is the bet I put on the Super Bowl for $5,000. Don't tell my wife. That pans out, I'll probably get over it. But if it doesn't, I'm going to be in a world of trouble. I am going to be in a world of trouble. All right, so I'm sorry if that guy is recovering from something. He still weirds me out, though. Cancer or no cancer. I hope he's okay, unless he is burying children in his backyard. I don't know. If he is, then I hope he's not okay. If he isn't, then I hope he is okay. And scene. I think I'm just going to go with that to get me out of jams for the rest of the night. CNN said that Wolf was okay, that he wasn't feeling all that well. Let's let the elderly host get the night off. I don't know what it is about this country, but we just want to see people work until they just walk right into a grave. Joe Biden, Wolf Blitzer. I mean, why can't, whatever happened to retirement? Do these people know that that's an option? You stop working? I'm half the age of these sons of bitches, and I'm trying to retire every single day. I keep asking Cuddles the same thing. Can I retire? Did I reach? Oh, do we have it? And she's like, we don't have it now, and we're not going to have it for quite some time. Robin says Raskin is great. Well, then what's his first name then? Because I'm going to say between Robin and Paul, nobody has said this dude's first name unless Raskin is his first name. I don't think you guys know his first name. I think you're just like, I think that's that Raskin dude. And I'm just saying that to try and make myself feel better for making fun of him. For making what potentially could be a really embarrassing situation for myself. I don't really, the talking head people, I'm getting sick of them. I'm really getting sick of them. Nikki Haley wants to move retirement up to 70. See, you can't say that. Because I feel like half this country is people like over the age of 60 who literally have nothing to do other than be involved in politics and then vote. Like you get your 30-year-olds and your 40-year-olds and your 50-year-olds maybe a little bit in there, 20-year-olds maybe a little in there. We've all got stuff going on. We've all got things cooking. We can't be watching every Fox News, CNN. We can't be reading every article. We can't be voting every day. We just can't be doing it. But those old people can. And then if you're going to go ahead and tell them, hey, you got to work a couple more years, I don't think you're going to win many elections. I really don't. All right, finally, somebody. Jamie Raskin. Thank you, Miss Justice. Thank you. Even TD Freelancer knows it. I'm going to go ahead and say that Paul and Robin don't. Paul, he's Democratic, so Anthony is not a fan. I know I'm doing my job right when Paul gives me a hard time. And then when Paul gives me a hard time for giving Democrats a hard time, I know I'm doing my job right. And then when I go ahead and I check Twitter and Glenn's giving me a hard time for giving the Republicans a hard time, when those two are still on my ass, then I know we're doing okay. That's when I know we're doing okay. All right, let's go over to Vince McMahon. This guy, this is kind of sad. I didn't want to do this story on the I didn't want to do this story on a Friday. This is not a fun Friday story, but worth saying because I get more angry at Vince McMahon every time some of these things come out. And this was really, in particular, pretty upsetting. There's another allegation against him and the WWE. And it comes from a young lady named Ashley Massaro. And unfortunately, back in 2019, Ashley Massaro took her own life. Which was very, very sad. But she was a WWE star, and she claimed in affidavits shortly before taking her own life that McMahon preyed on female wrestlers and destroyed her career after turning down his advances. She accused McMahon and other WWE executives of covering up an alleged R word. Can't say it on social anymore. All our content gets put down, so we have to say R word. You know what it is. Rhymes with ape. This happened at an army base in Kuwait, and honestly, it's one of the worst things that I've ever heard. I mean, I feel like all assault is bad. I didn't think that there were levels to it. This is a level. This is a new level. In a previously unreleased statement that she gave to her lawyers before her death, which was obtained by Vice News, Massaro alleged that McMahon propositioned her for sex. The statement was not included in a lawsuit Massaro and others filed against the WWE because the case concerned concussions. However, it surfaced just a few days after authorities launched an investigation into sex trafficking allegations leveled against McMahon by former WWE staffer Janelle Grant, who sued the longtime wrestling kingpin last month. Excuse me. That was the big case that we talked about a couple of shows ago when we all started talking about the Vince McMahon stuff. McMahon then resigns from the WWE as chairman. He's denied all of Grant's allegations. Several outlets have reached out to McMahon, WWE, TKO. They have all not commented. Massaro's statement before her death painted a terrifying image of McMahon as a sexual predator. In the statement, she said, "I felt extraordinarily uncomfortable," alleging that McMahon repeatedly called her to invite her to come to his hotel room alone late at night. She said, quote, "He began calling the room phone and my cell phone nonstop." Massaro joined the WWE in 2005, was released in 2008, and alleged that McMahon was seen making out with female wrestlers in the locker room and that he sexually harassed her. When she rejected his overtures, Massaro alleged that McMahon wrote demeaning scripts for her to perform. The scripts, Massaro alleged, were designed to ruin her reputation and end her career. In a sworn affidavit, also alleging that McMahon and another WWE executive named in Grant's lawsuit, John Laurinaitis, told her to keep quiet about the alleged assault that took place on the Army base in 2006. So she says she was drugged and R-worded by a man who claimed to be a U.S. Army doctor while she was on tour with the WWE in Kuwait. In the sworn affidavit released by her lawyer, a woman guarded the door while the man proceeded to inject me with a drug that caused me to be unable to move my body or to scream. She was not at all knocked out during the entire ordeal. So she was conscious and awake, but paralyzed, essentially, couldn't move while it was happening. I didn't think that, again, when you think about assault, I'm using assault because it's the safe word because I can't use the R word. When you think about that, you don't think that it could be any worse than just that alone. And here you go. You know, I mean, it just not being able to move at all and being totally conscious of it. I mean, getting drugged and knocked out is not good, but at least there's some safety there in your mind. Of course, not being knocked out or drugged at all, also not great. But I feel like just when you just can't move and you're just conscious for it all, you can't even like muster up a scream. I mean, that's a nightmare. I mean, literally, when you think about it, like those are most of my nightmares. I'm like, I can't move, I can't scream. I'm just like stuck there. I don't have somebody on top of me. And that's a nightmare alone. I hate that feeling. I just hate it. Thinking about it right now, I hate it. So I can't imagine what this young lady went through. I mean, it's certainly just terrible, just absolutely terrible. She recalled in the document that it was violent too. It was a violent one, just awful. The Naval Criminal Intelligence Service, the NCIS, launched an investigation into Massaro's claims. That investigation was closed in 2020, according to Vice News. Massaro alleged in her affidavit that McMahon, Laurinaitis, and other executives at the WWE offices in Stamford, Connecticut, told her to keep it quiet and not to jeopardize the company's relationship with the U.S. military. Awful. Massaro said that she reported what happened to a WWE doctor who then told WWE executives, who soon thereafter met with Massaro to apologize for their negligence, but persuaded her that it would be best not to report it to the appropriate authorities. I mean, I just can't believe it. In court papers filed in 2016, the WWE called Massaro's allegations stale and baseless and denied Massaro had ever reported any sort of assault to anyone affiliated with the WWE. Laurinaitis' lawyer, Edward Brennan, told Vice News any allegations that Mr. Laurinaitis helped cover up an alleged sexual assault allegation is an outright lie. Johnny, like most upper-level management, at some time became aware of the allegations and ensured all proper WWE protocols were followed, including privacy for the alleged victim. We object to the use of the term cover-up, as no such plan or plot ever took place to hide or assist in the alleged sexual assault. So there's the story there. Everybody, yeah, awful, horrendous. It's terrible. Like Cosby. I don't know, Paul. I feel like he knocked people out. He drugged them. I don't know if he drugged them and kept them awake. I mean, that seems like you gotta kind of know what you're doing to get that accomplished. I don't know. It feels like you gotta kind of know what's going on to get the proper mix of whatever, or know what kind of drug does that, or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but it's just terrible. And then she takes her life. I mean, you're almost not surprised to hear, how this all wound up. But just the idea of whether, I mean, there's a lot of things in there. What really aggravated me was the whole making out with and pursuit. Like, if McMahon was just like harassing all these people, it kind of bothers me, because I really don't think at a company that size you can get away with that without people really knowing, which kind of enrages me even more. It's one thing if it's happening and it's quiet, or maybe one or two people know. I just feel like when you're in a business of performers and people who like to support performers, I feel like that's a very coffee clutch rumor kind of a talky crowd. And if one thing is happening or this behavior is going on, I can't help but think there's not just murmurs going through the whole organization of, did you hear what I saw or what happened or what somebody told me they saw? You know what I mean? I just, I don't know. And you're such a public figure. It really drives me crazy when powerful men do this for several reasons. But one is, when you look at a person like McMahon, and certainly this is not the biggest one, but when you look at a person like McMahon, he's responsible for a lot of lives. I mean, a lot of lives. When you're in that position, you have to be better than everybody. You shouldn't be succumbing to temptation, cheating on your wife, or, being excessively drunk and doing you've got to be great. You've got to be on it all the time. Because not only are you responsible for your family, your loved ones, right? You're responsible for your coworkers. You're responsible for the people who work for you. You're responsible for their significant others, their children, their families. They're all living off of this thing that you've created. You owe it to them to be a decent human being and not a piece of shit, And so it really drives me crazy. Like, one, the obviously goes without saying, the behavior is reprehensible, but to gamble with everybody's lives, to take advantage of all that, all these people, listen, the wrestlers are one thing, right? They're sacrificing their bodies, they're putting it all on the line. They're risking major injury, but there's people that build a ring and put the lights up and get the sound go. Like, I'm sure there's people that are working 12, 14-hour days to make sure that these shows go off without a hitch. And you, son of a bitch, are going to be back there trying to, get a nut off and make somebody uncomfortable and harass them and risk the whole fucking thing? Come on. Like, give me a break. It drives me nuts to hear that part of it. I mean, am I the only one? Am I alone on that? It's one thing to have one person be a piece of shit to somebody else and harass them. That's bad in its own right. When you're in a position of power and you're responsible for other people and you're just gambling that shit. You're just gambling that shit. Just because you can't control yourself, for let the moment, the urge pass. I mean, you just don't be a piece of shit. It's not that hard. A lot of people go around without being a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that hard when you think about it. It's pretty easy not to be a scumbag. I guess just not for some people. Paul's probably right here. Sexual predators don't think like that. Especially because, it drives me even more crazy when you're in a profession or a situation where it's like 1 in a trillion anyway, right? Like, it's not easy to become a lawyer, but there are millions of lawyers, right? Like, there's millions of lawyers. It's not easy to become a doctor. There's millions of doctors. It's probably not easy to become a plumber or an electrician and be really good at it, but there's millions of them walking around. When you create a wrestling company, like, I know that pro wrestling existed before him, but look at what he created out of nothing. That's a 1 in a trillion job. It's a 1 in a trillion job. How many other people, like, where's the other person that created a global marketing empire based off of professional wrestling? Name the other person. Because the only other person that ever came close was Ted Turner, and he bought his way into it, and he couldn't hang for more than whatever he had it for, 5 years, 10 years. Right? I mean, it's a 1 in a trillion job. When you look at the head coach of a football team, there's only I'm talking about an NFL head coach. There are only 32 of them that exist on the planet. 32. That is it. Million lawyers, 32 NFL head coaches. You get that job, you should be working your ass off, not worry about, oh, who can I harass today? How dare you? After everybody in your life, your partner, your kids, your mom and dad, your aunts and uncles, they probably sacrificed all their lives so that you could play football or study football or be in football. And then you're just going to go piss that away because you can't eat. I mean, it seems crazy to me to do that. Absolutely crazy. You have these people who just have such responsibility and they just piss it away. It's just, I can't wrap my head around it clearly. It was brought to my attention that on the last episode, I might have excessively talked about Drake's penis. And it may or may not have been brought to my attention by people I've married. People who've birthed me. When mom calls and it's like, there's a lot on the penis. A lot of penis talk. My mom's like, I'm in a bridge club and some of those people watch the podcast. And I fired right back at her. I go, well, how many of them watch the Drake video? Because that's what you should be asking them. You know what I'm saying? Like, fucking Robin, Drake the Snake. Drake the Snake Roberts. I love it. I love it. Sarah, can it be excessive? I'm not sure. I'll tell you what is excessive, and that ain't me talking about Drake's penis. It's Drake's penis is what's excessive. Have you seen that thing? There's my mom on the phone. She's like, it felt like 35 minutes. I go, you know what's longer than 35 minutes, Mom? Drake's penis. Okay. And now I go, his penis is so big, it's got me saying penis to my mother more than once. I mean, the whole thing is awful. It's absolutely awful. Now I have an hysterical woman in the live chat who wants me to show a meme that she created. Isn't your name in this or in your husband's picture? I shouldn't be sharing this with people. Are you sure? I mean, it's not, can I be honest with you? Okay, here's the problem with Janine. She has the worst, most unflattering photograph of her husband as her husband's contact picture. I mean, I swear to God, it's just... You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Block his photo. What am I going to do? Production work? Well, I'm doing a show here. I don't know how to edit this while I'm doing this. Anyway, I apologize if I went on and on about about Drake's penis. I mean, I'll never unsee it. I want to thank Laura for finally sending it over to me, because and the highlight that we put out, if you follow us on all the social channels, Instagram, TikTok. By the way, follow us on TikTok. Follow the podcast on the TikTok. I think we're at Anthony Radio on TikTok. Search that out. Follow us. You need the link. It's at anthonyonair.com. Should be easy to remember that. It's the name of the podcast. Just go to anthonyonair.com. Click on social, hit TikTok, follow. It's important to follow us on TikTok because I could put full clips out there. If people watch the Drake penis highlight, they only got 90 seconds of me talking about it. There was well over 3 minutes of highlights in there. I mean, highlights, aces. I mean, swishes, including Robin's wonderful third leg tour. Third tour leg, rather. Beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. All that's on there. So follow us on the TikTok for that stuff. What I'm saying is you're getting more funny condensed into a little nugget on the TikTok than you are on the Instagram. But listen, I mean, When I finally saw it, thank you to Laura. It's crazy. Now, if you go on our Instagram, I know I just told you to go to TikTok. Follow me here. If you go on our Instagram, you have to put pictures up, like cover photos up. And I covered his with a little censored box. But if you look at it, you can see the top of it peeking out like a turtle emerging from his shell. Find out what's going on, like a groundhog or a gopher, if you will, just coming up just to see what's happening up here. That thing was it just outshined the tip of the top of you see the tip at the top of the box, the sensor box. When Laura emailed me the photo of Drake's penis and I opened it, I dropped my phone because it was so big. It made my phone too heavy. It instantly added weight to the telephone that I was holding in my hand. That's how ridiculous it was. I mean, it was utterly ridiculous. Just to clarify, we're not banned from TikTok. We still have a TikTok account. We're banned from going live on TikTok. That's where you get in trouble if you say butthole too many times. And not asshole, butthole was the actual term. This is the kindest thing anybody's ever sent to me. Aunt, you make a great turtle. Thank you. Thank you so much. Not because of you, Janine, we didn't get banned from TikTok. We got banned from TikTok Live because of the other foul-mouthed woman on this program. That would be Cuddles. We all know I wasn't talking about Erin. She's very well-spoken. She is very well-spoken. Okay, I can't. Okay, here's the meme. Here's the meme that J-Saps created that she is very proud of. I guess her husband texted her a video of her child's feet. I'm not entirely sure what's happening there. And she just wrote, thank God he's got a quality in common with Drake. I think she's saying her husband has a huge missile in his pants. I just don't know if there's ever been one as big as Drake. And I can't help but wonder if maybe it's fake. I just feel like, oh, he dressed her for the dance? Is that what happened? What? See, here's how stupid did he do it bad? I don't understand. What's the problem? Because you could see her skin? Is that not supposed to be? Did he put that on backwards? Oh, I get it. That's how this goes, question mark. All right. Is this, I'm not a dancer. Is this a malfunction? Or is that not supposed to look like that? Then I'm sorry, because I thought he did a good job. I was just going to say, why are you bringing so hard on the guy? I think he did a good job. He got it in there. Heard it was as big as a Buick Skylark. I would do justice to that impression. Goddamn, Robin, you're on fire. You are on fire. Drake's penis is as big as a 1964 Pontiac Tempest. No, the defense is wrong.
It's called disclosure, you dickhead.
Only took me 45 minutes to get there. He tried. See, TD Freelancer says, that's sweet. See, I mean, J-Sabs is just out here all thirsty, bragging that her husband's got a big penis. Like nobody else in the podcast has a big penis. Nobody else in the podcast has a big penis. Well, anyway, that's the Drake update. My mom had to call me and ask me to stop talking about other grown men's penises. I said, if I was gay, would you be having this conversation with me? She said, yeah. She says, I don't want you talking about anybody's vagina either, to be honest. She goes, doesn't really matter. What? It just feels like a lot to be talking about genitals. I was like, I forgot you were born a long time ago. You never really went out and discussed genitals amongst your friends. Supposedly, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they did back then. I'm not quite sure. The 60s were a crazy time. Does that alarm anybody else? When you look at it, or like the 70s, when you look at a time period and you're like, my mom was 28, 30 in the 70s. Oh no. You're just I don't know. Starts to not feel you're like, oh, peace and love. And like when you see all those people at Woodstock all naked, taking mud baths and throwing mud on each other, you're like, look at these crazy people. It's like half of everybody's mom. I bet you six moms and dads were in that crowd that day and that are watching and participating on this podcast right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't want to talk about penis or vagina with my mom. But I hope everybody here appreciates the sacrifice, that I'm making on a daily basis. Tucker and Vlad. Full disclosure, I went to go watch the Tucker and Vladimir Putin interview, and I saw that it was 2 hours, and I just thought to myself, I would rather do anything else. I'd rather call my mom and bring up the Drake penis conversation again than have to sit here and watch this and watch the two assholes talk to each other. I mean, that's hard to do for 2 hours straight. It just is. It's just, I don't know how much asshole I can take. And now to have two of them be like, asshole, 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 asshole. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then there's like a translator, and I don't know if the translator's an asshole or not. Maybe he is because he works for Putin. Maybe he's being forced. I'm not entirely sure, but it's like asshole, asshole. And then they have to wait for the translation. And then that guy comes in his best asshole impersonation of the other asshole. He's like, asshole, asshole, asshole. And then the asshole's like, asshole, asshole, asshole. And the guy's like, asshole, 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 asshole. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's 2 hours. Although I did willingly give myself over to shorts on YouTube and TikTok to watch a couple of clips. Full disclosure, I feel about it now the way I felt about it before I got to see the interview. I think the idea of going to interview this guy is nothing wrong with it. It's noble. Tucker happened to get it. A lot of other people tried for it. But at the same time, he got it for a reason. And do I think Tucker asked some tough questions? I do. You can't deny that he did. Did he let him off the ropes a lot? He did. No, I get it. You got a bunch of things you want to ask, but there's got to be that one thing. Here's how this interview is successful for Tucker Carlson. If Vladimir, I keep wanting to say Smolinski. Why am I thinking that? If Vladimir Putin gets up and walks away, that's how you know Tucker Carlson's done a good job. And I don't believe that occurred. So he kind of like let him slide. And, he kind of let him spread a lot of bullshit around, like one question I saw was, Putin claims that 18 months ago, they had a peace treaty between the Ukraine and him, and Boris Johnson stopped it. Like, who on what planet is going to believe that? Now, I wouldn't piss on this Boris Johnson if he's on fire. I don't give a shit about him. But the idea that any country was going to stop a war for no reason, he offered zero reason. It's kind of a stupid premise. Now you can say military industrial complex. Okay, I buy into that. That's fine. But I just don't think that you could be in a summit of countries with other people in the room and be the problem, and be like, I know we're England and we're like arm in arm with the US and trying to keep peace everywhere, but let's just stop, we gotta make money with it. I just don't buy it. Like, is it possible? Could I buy it? Yeah. But do I buy more that the dictator piece of shit never agreed? Yes. That's the one I buy more. And I buy it way more. Just way more. That's what I could believe. Not so much the other one. So, like, he kind of questioned him about it, and then he would just kind of like let him off the ropes. So, listen, he's not going to win the Nobel Peace Prize for this interview. And I would love to give him more credit than the itty bitty some little credit that I'm giving him for at least answering the tough questions. But if I believed in my heart of hearts that Tucker Carlson went over there to be a journalist, I would give him a lot of credit. But again, what's more plausible is that Tucker Carlson went over there to get more followers and to get more clout. He clout chased his way over there, essentially just to pat himself on the back and increase his business. Now, listen, as an independent podcast on our own, who we are a small business too, I can appreciate anybody's effort to do that. I don't want to take anybody down for trying to do it really well, but I, if put in that position, would have not gone, or I would have done the job really, really well. Because Tucker's thinking to himself at the end of the day, well, I'll get a bunch more signups on my site. I'll get a bunch more, fees, or I'll get a bunch more press from all the other outlets. That's what he's thinking about, and to sacrifice that, to give that asshole a platform, not worth it, Like if he interviewed anybody else and any other outlandish interview that he could have gotten, good for him. If he increases his subscribers and viewers, then great, good for you, buddy. But you don't do that when you're messing with a world stage that involves innocent people's lives, because he's sitting there and Putin's going, Boris Johnson, he changed the thing. He goes, we have the document. The Ukraine representative initialed it and signed the document, but Boris Johnson stopped it. It's like, well, then why not go back and try and get it? And then he was like, well, it was, it's too late now. We're too far gone. Like, no, are you? Because usually you come up with a point and you're like, we could probably put a stop to this. We could probably put a stop to this. So again, it's like when you're handling a dictator, you can't just be like, okay, here's another question, like you gotta really stop. I saw another exchange when he asked him about, I forget, one of the journalists he has as hostage prisoner over there, because he's accused him of being part of the CIA. So Tucker pressed him on that a little bit, and he was like, he's just a journalist and you got him locked up. And he's like, no. Putin was like, no, he was receiving classified documents. And Tucker's like, no, he wasn't. Everybody knows he wasn't. So he gave him, he got in there, set up with him a little bit. But overall, you got to kind of really, and I get it. He wants to walk out of the room. I get it. Right. I mean, there is no real guarantee there. Even if you got security, anything can happen with these guys. Crazy. Fucking Putin's crazy. He's a fucking dictator. It's crazy. But if you go in, here's the thing. And I'm sorry, but this is true. And most war correspondents will tell you this. You go into a situation like that, you should be prepared to die. Flat out, you should be prepared to die. Our soldiers don't have a choice, right? They go into those situations. I mean, not interviews, but they go into foreign areas and dangerous situations. They know they can die. And they're there for it anyway. They're willing to push it to the max. They're willing to die for the person next to them. They're willing to die for the people back at home, right? That's why soldiers jump on grenades and jump in front of bullets and do all these kinds of crazy, heroic things that they do, God bless them. Because they're willing to leave it all out on the field. They're willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice. As a journalist who takes that job, you should be willing to be fucking hauled off into a Russian prison and imprisoned for 4 months, for 4 years, if you're going to take that fucking interview. And there is no way that Tucker Carlson would do that. And that's why I can't give him more credit. Because he just didn't go for it as much as he should have, as much as anybody should have when you take that responsibility of taking on an interview like that. Plus, I mean, there's always the idea of we just have Drake on zip and his penis unravels all the way to St. Petersburg and you just hop on and you climb away and you pull it back up before any of the bad guys can get there. Now that sounds crazy, but I want you to send that over to Christopher Nolan because I think we got some, or Michael Bay. It just doesn't matter at this point. It's just all explosions and crazy effects, except for Drake's penis, of course. That cannot be recreated through science or technology. President Biden's memory. So Merrick Garland did an investigation into Joe Biden and the documents that he had at his house and all that stuff. Handpicked Robert Hur, special counsel, to investigate into the whole thing, try and find it all out, come up with it. And the basically the investigation, which found that he had documents in his basement and shit like that. He was saying he had it there for his memoirs. While they were investigating more, he found out that he couldn't really remember a lot of things. And this was back in before he was president. This is back in 2016. This is after he left the White House as vice president. It's been a shit show for the last couple of days that he's not of mental capacity. I mean, should anybody be surprised at that? Now, he got mad today at a press conference and he started, going back at people, but I mean, we can all listen. He's an old guy with a stutter. So you get a lot of that is kind of like, everybody takes some of his stuttering issues and is like, see, he doesn't know what the fuck he's saying. He calls people by the wrong name, but everybody's grandpa and uncle does that. Granted, they're not running the country with a finger on the button, but we just had an unhinged guy. What's wrong with a little bit of a memory, lapsed? What's wrong with an old guy who can't remember shit? I mean, we just had one. We just had a crazy unhinged person. Now we got an old guy who can't remember shit, and we're gonna go back to the crazy unhinged person. It seems, So what difference does it make? It's not a big deal anymore. You just let him fucking, whatever. You just let him whatever. I don't know. Listen, here's the thing about a president. And again, we tested the shit out of this theory with Trump because in the last 30 days of that man's presidency, he was not there. That guy stopped running that country shortly after he lost the election. December was kind of a wash. Then into January with all the January 6th stuff. No, but I mean, the whole, thank God for Pence, or I should say, thank God for the machine, because that too was running our country at, 2020 into 2021. So we already know that if the driver of the old bus there goes cuckoo, we'll be all right, which I think is probably maybe happening right now. I think it's probably happening at this moment with Biden, the machine, the party, whatever, the administration, not the party, the administration probably running shit. Probably running shit. Paul, the Trumps have repeatedly pled the fifth and said, I don't recall, hundreds of times under oath. Yeah, but that's not because they can't remember. That's because they don't want to tell the truth and get in trouble. That's two different things. That's two different things. talking about memory. They know. They recall. What are they going to say? Yeah, we stole a bunch of money. Yeah, we did that. That was us. That was us overvaluing our company. And they're never going to do that. You're mistaking them for moral people. But the fact remains that we're probably on some really thin ice with the president here. And, you get this report coming out. He was up there today. I mean, he went in front of the firing squad today and took questions and did the whole thing, but they're pretty angry and upset over it. They really don't like any of that. The special counsel determined that President Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials after leaving office as vice president in 2016. The records kept by Biden included documents on military and foreign policy in Afghanistan, as well as other national security and foreign policy issues. Biden kept the classified documents in part to assist the writing of his memoirs, according to a report. Biden told a ghostwriter in 2017 in a conversation that he had just found all the classified stuff downstairs. Despite his findings, Hur's 388-page report recommended that the president not face any charges. Special counsel noted that Biden would likely present himself to a jury as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory if he were to face trial. So looks like, as we said before, they all kind of kept documents, which they really shouldn't have, especially in garages and in closets where people were, working there. I mean, clearly, whoever is handling this, I think everybody's going to take a closer look at the president exiting after this one and the last one. Well, then Obama has. I mean, they can take stuff, and if they do it the right way, and the difference between Biden, I know if Frank was here, he would say the difference between Biden and Trump is Biden give it back right away, which is true. But they're all holding shit. And clearly, we gotta tighten up this part of the old government. We gotta open up the hood of this part of the government, get in there and fix it all up a little bit there. So I don't know. Until Joe Biden pulls who's the turtle guy? Until Biden pulls a McConnell, people are going to vote for him. People are going to vote for him. And again, we're deciding between the guy who can't remember and the guy who's like just nuts and unhinged. Which one do you pick your poison? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. It's thank goodness that we have administrations to really, really run shit. I mean, that's who's doing it, and that's okay. That's what, president goes and flies, president sleeps, shit keeps going. We could deal with it. You take 6 hours with the president while he sleeps. Yeah, you take 8. You take a couple months. What's the big deal? All right, last topic. And this is a little crazy to me. Now, I have a pretty good experience with overbearing moms who perhaps worry too much. I know we got a couple moms in the live chat. Perhaps you can help me with this. There's a woman who works in a brothel who claims that moms pay her to deflower their clueless sons. That's why I call her the brothel mom hunter. She's out there. I mean, it's a heck of a marketing plan when you think about it. She's out there marketing herself to moms who have sons who can't seem to put it all together. And she's like, yeah, swing a bike, bring a couple hundred. I'll take care of it. She's licensed. So, and she says moms pay her to take out their clueless virgin sons and then, do the deed afterwards. Her name is Ariel Little. She's 33. She works at Chicken Ranch, which is a licensed legal brothel in Pahrump, Nevada. Pahrump, Pahrump. Pahrump. Negotiate with mom. She says she ventures outside of those erotic establishments to offer her inexperienced clients a full winning and dining experience. Little told Kennedy News, moms are sending their sons to me ahead of Valentine's Day to get their first experience under their belt. They're reaching out from a place of care and concern, wanting to make sure their kid essentially doesn't become bitter and negative towards women. They get in touch because their kids have never connected with women for whatever reason. Now, much like other moms, their intentions are always great. Very rarely you have a mom who doesn't have great intentions. They don't want their sons to be negative towards women. Wasn't that wonderful? Let me pay somebody to sleep with them. I don't know if that's going to help. Intentions are good. Results, I'm not so sure. Not so sure about that. Pum. Negotiate with mom. I don't know. I have to have a conversation with my wife because I've seen my wife do things that I would never do. Mainly wipe a booger off of my son's face. Wipe poop out of his butt. Things that I would never I could never imagine doing. Cheese right in there. I could never imagine paying a hooker for him. And I'll have to check with her because again, I've seen her with her bare hands take a booger. You know when you get a booger? When a booger makes its way, like somebody who doesn't want to fall off a building. They're just a booger kind of falls right over the edge and hangs right on top of the nose. I've seen her with bare hands just pick that up and give it one of these into the trash. And I remember because it was the last thing I saw before I vomited and passed out. Just how gross it was. Ariel explained that some of these men are introverted and never started their dating or sex lives. She welcomes mothers who book appointments with her for their sons. So as long as it's consensual and the person is aware that this is what they are getting as a present. I mean, I guess that's important. You don't want to fool them and have them find out one day your mom had to pay for your first time, because that would probably be devastating. You probably want to, it's probably a little bit of an easier blow if you know that going in. Little explained that getting to sit and go out on a date is a truly first experience for them, so it's stressful and nerve-wracking. To help ease these men into the world of dating, she organizes a practice date to set them up with the skills they're going to need to be successful in relationships in the future. She said, I've had guys asking in a mocked-up first date situation for some of these gentlemen, they've not even had their first kiss. I think it's really beneficial to have that first experience with someone who is more experienced, because they're not going to be any judgment. See, that's funny, because I feel like the other person who doesn't know what they're doing, they're nervous too, and they're not going to judge. I mean, I don't know. That was, that's first time I kissed somebody. It wasn't a prostitute. It was somebody else who was their first kiss, So, how do we know the other person's bad? It's the first time. We don't know. I think kind of feels like that's the natural way. I might be wrong. You tell me if I'm crazy. It's possible. I feel like that whole "I'm not going to judge you" is a lie, because she's like, this is terrible, but I'm getting paid for it. The judgment's still there. She may be professional enough not to say it out loud, but she's still thinking it. Whereas the other inexperienced person is not going to know. I kissed a woman once. It was so awful. It was terrible. I don't want to say too much on this. Let's just say a really big relationship ended in her life. A really big one. And your old pal Aunt became the first rebound situation. And when this woman leaned over to kiss me, within 3 seconds of the kiss, I rushed to so much judgment. In my head, I said, oh, this is why her marriage ended. Oops, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, well, now you know the story. But within 3 seconds of a harmless, in the car, end of the first date, maybe second, I don't even know. It doesn't, it's insignificant. In the car, make out to go, and thanks for everything. Within 3 seconds, I go, oh, this is why your marriage ended. If this is how bad you kiss somebody, I don't think you could be good at anything else. I feel horrible for saying this. I really regret bringing this up, because I hope this person doesn't see this video. Although, I guess somebody should tell them at some point. Now, thank you, Mercury, for being a support system for me. I've been there, Aunt. I appreciate that. Because it's a tough thing. It just weird, erratic movements. There was a tooth involved at some point. And then here's the second thought I had. I swear to you, I have no reason to lie to you. After I go, oh, this is why her marriage ended, I said to myself, I have to peek open my eyes, because I couldn't tell if she was just fucking with me. Like, if she was like, oh, because that's something I would do. If I had the confidence, if I was a confident person who didn't feel like I was about to lose every girl I ever was with, I would love to fuck with people. That would have been and they go, I got you. That's hilarious, because that was what I thought. Oh, it can't be this bad. She's doing a bit. Let me peek open my eyes to see if she's staring back at me isn't this funny, you stupid idiot? No. Lots of slobber. Yep. When you come out of the kissing, you go, well, that was nice. It wasn't. When you have to wipe under your chin because you finally know what it's like to kiss Beethoven the dog. And just, I mean, Sybil, it comes naturally. You can't fake it. That's what I think. I feel, again, I don't, not one to criticize moms because I like living. It's two people you don't take on in this world, moms and Taylor Swift fans. There's too many of them. They are very, very strong in their beliefs. You're not going to change them. And they really do have nice intentions. They're not wrong people. They're not bad people, right? You don't take them on. But I can't help but think that it would be better for your weirdo son to find somebody who's equally as weird and just fucking figure it out. That's really what you got to do. There's almost kind of an importance to it. There's that animal instinct of, I don't know what to do, but I kind of know what to do. Like we all have that in us, right? We just have it in us. We're people. We're almost a virus to a degree. We know how to just recreate, how to procreate, I should say. And Paul brings up a good point. Hookers don't kiss. I guess this one does. I guess if you pay, this one does. Well, here's the other thing I was thinking about too, as I was pondering this story earlier. She's kind of a genius for a multitude of reasons. And the number one thing that came to my mind was, if you're being paid to be a hooker, that might be a tough profession for a lot of people. But when you think about what she has done, she has figured out a way to find the people that in no way, shape, or form will last for more than 6 seconds. So much like the Beatles, when you put all their catalog of work together, you realize, although great, not long, very, very short. I feel like she was probably listening to Sgt. Pepper when she thought, if I could only sleep with just virgins so we can just get this over with quickly. And she kind of came up with it. She's like, I know, I'll target their crazy mothers. I just don't know if I grew up with a lot of moms that would pay for their son to go to a brothel. I just don't know. I know it's a storyline, right? I know people have written that shit into movies. I just don't know anybody who really, this is good. This is talk about turnover. Hi-oh. That's a good one from Paul. You get that turnover and turnover. I got it. That's good. Holding hands is very intimate. Another thing the bad makeout girl couldn't do. It's very weird. There was like 2 fingers in where there should have been one. I mean, the whole thing was amazing. Don't bring me back there. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Anyway, yeah, she's got she's in there, I don't know, 3-4 minutes. I mean, the worst part must be the date. I mean, she's probably getting some life experience. I'd read her book. And by read her book, I mean, I'd listen to it on audio tape. But I just don't know. I mean, I don't know, moms are doing the right thing there. I just don't. There's something wonderful about, all those first, like you said, holding hands are intimate. Remember the first time a boy or girl held your hand? And that first feeling of like, oh, this is not, again, it's that animal, it's innocent, right? It's just hand holding, but it's that animal instinct of, oh, I want to hold that person's hand, or, oh, this is nice. When you discover that thing and it's just like, oh, this is wonderful. It's kind of the same thing with making out with somebody. Kind of gross when you think about it, but you just go, oh, this is cool. This is exciting. Miss Justice, were they man hands? No, they weren't man hands. I don't know what's worse anymore, though. Man hands on a woman or those Courtney/Chloe, I can't remember, Kardashian, really thin, long Crypt Keeper hands. I don't know which one I fear more. Just both so very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable with all of it. Sybil hears me. Because again, I think you're just going to give your son a complex if you're like, oh, you can't do this? Well, we'll just pay for it. I think there's a lot of levels where that's not good, right? And Aunt Becky can tell you that. She's just like, oh, my kid can't get into that school. We'll just pay for it. Like, it doesn't really ever work out. You know, you got to get out there and you got to earn that stuff. Again, this is another place. Telling rich people the truth, I feel like could be a good job for me. And I feel like there's money there. But I'd also love to get it. I also like to get in there with an introvert. Just be like, what's going on, buddy? You know, why can't I'll tell you what's the better thing. Get him some pals. He needs buds. Because pals and buds will eventually get you laid. You know, that'll eventually get you making out with somebody or on a date. Pals and buds can do very well. You know, get them some pals and buds. Start with a friend. That's the thing. Before you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, start with a friend. I feel like this could all be in my speech. I need one of those douchebaggy you ever see the motivational guys? You know what I'm saying? Before you get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, get a friend. Buy my 5-point system available now. You know, they got it's always the little microphone that ends here. And it's just, you're like, how is that? How is this size thing? I don't know how it all works. And it was Khloe Kardashian. Boy, those things, it was like she had 10 mini Drake penises on her. It's just, you're like, that shouldn't be that long. Very long. It's very long. What was I talking about? Oh, get him buds and pals. You need buds and pals. You need idiots around you, you know, to be like, to do stupid things. And I'm talking from a man's perspective. That's all I have. But I was surrounded with idiots, and I would come up with something stupid like, I'm going to go ask that girl to dance. And the other idiots would be like, you should do that. It's a good idea. You should ask her to do. You know, it's just, oh, she didn't want to dance with me. And there's your buds and pals. We knew she was going to dance with you, stupid. You know, I mean, you need buds and pals. You just need it. They get you through everything. You know? Good point. Paul, remember Mad Men? Wasn't he raised in a brothel? Yeah, look how fucked up he was. Look at how fucked up Don Draper was. That guy couldn't put it together, man. Guy just couldn't fucking be anywhere. Spoiler alert. The last episode of Mad Men, mute it right now if you don't want to hear this, was essentially like all my recurring nightmares. Remember we talked about nightmares and dreams? And mine is I'm getting dressed for the hockey game or I'm getting dressed for the play. And I just can't get there. I'm talking to this one. I'm like, I'm putting something on. Then I take a break. I go get a drink. I talk to that one. You know, and it's just never if you watch the 3 like women in his life, his daughter, his wife, right? He's talking to all of them on the phone. He can't get out of that place he's in. He just can't get there. You know, he's trying to leave. He says he's going to make it. He's trying to be the hero. And he just doesn't. He's selfish. He's a piece of shit at the end of the day. And he never goes. You know, he's just got one excuse or reason or another. He just never gets there. He never fully makes it. It's like a nightmare. That's all of my nightmares. That's all of it. And Don Draper never got over that shit because he was raised in a brothel. So brothels, you know, maybe not a great place for building up confidence. I really don't believe it is so. Speaking of which, what was that brothel show on HBO with the bald dude who wound up dying? Whatever that was, in one of those episodes, a mom brings in her son to do that. I remember that. You just shook that memory loose in my head. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know how these people are doing it. Oh, we could put the volume back up now. Volume back up. Paul muted, didn't see the last season. All right, good. I'm glad you muted. Watch it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I've actually been dying to watch these motherfuckers in streaming. I swear to you, they're driving me up a wall. They were the ones like, oh, isn't cable bad? Now they're becoming worse than cable. I'm like, I really want to watch Mad Men. I just cannot pay for another streaming. I just got back to paying for Peacock after I said I was never going to pay for that again. And now I'm paying for that. I'm on 6 of them. And now I'm like, I would love to watch the Don Draper show again. Whatever it was called. Mad Men. Thank you. And I'm like, I'm gonna go. Where is the streaming? Okay, now it's only streaming on AMC Plus because they're the ones who had the show originally, and they're like, "Fuck you guys, we're not letting this go." It's the only reason why people are watching our shit. We're keeping this son of a bitch. So they kept the Don Draper show. So I have to watch it there. So I got to pay for another streaming service. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pay $8.99 for stupid AMC. I'm gonna forget to cancel it. It's gonna cost me $140 2 years from now when I finally remember what the hell it is. Bunny Ranch. Thanks, Robin. Appreciate that. Who is this one? The Chicken Ranch? What's going on over there in Vegas? That they can't fucking name a brothel? Does it have to be some kind of pig? Come on over to the Pig Ranch here. Be like, pig? I don't want to fucking. What do I want? I'm trying to get a where's the brothels? Oh no, that's what we are. Well, then call yourself that. Why are you calling yourself the Pig Ranch? Why the Chicken Cross the Road Ranch? What kind of lady are you interested in? I don't even know what's going on over there. Are they all huffing paint out in pump? It's driving me nuts right now. I can't stand it. Chicken Ranch, Bunny Ranch, Donkey Ranch. When will it end? When will it end? I'm going to tell you something right now. I've had this dream ever since 7 seconds ago. I'm going to move to Nevada. And I'm going to open up a brothel. And while you're out there trying to decide between Bunny Ranch and Chicken Ranch and Donkey Ranch, I'm going to call my brothel Horse Blue Cheese. Because as we all know, what's better than ranch? Blue cheese. And what did a horse ever do to anybody except prance and win races? And give little girls something to do on Saturday mornings between the ages of 6 and 10. They like doing a lot of horseback riding. Well, horses are beautiful. So Horse Blue Cheese. And I'm going to be like, we're amazing. And so much better than all the ranches. Mic drop. Mic drop. Why get ranch when you could have blue cheese? My ad campaign is going to be like, you don't put ranch on your wings like a psychopath, do you? You go for blue cheese. Come visit Horse Blue Cheese. Bring your mom for negotiations, and it's all going to be great. We're all going to have a grand old time. Last topic, which is not on the board, but I will give you a Flicks Picks. And pay attention to this, because this Flicks Picks I'm going to share with you was so great and so wonderful. I'm comfortable of saying in February, it might be the best thing we see all year. I have no reason to believe that we are going to do any better. Now you're just like, oh, is this the greatest movie of all time? No, I didn't say that. It was pretty good. And I'm not sure we're going to do much better than this. Over on Netflix, it popped up in the beginning for me, but you might have to go to the documentary section maybe. Wow, I'm just checking Netflix because I'm like, this has got to be in the top 10, and it's not. I can't believe it's not. That's so surprising to me. All right, AOA Flicks Picks. Go over to Netflix and watch The Greatest Night in Pop. It is a 90-minute documentary on the night that they taped the song We Are the World back in the early 80s. It is spectacular. For you young people who don't know, in the 80s, they grabbed all the big pop stars. I mean, imagine Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Eminem and Michael Bublé and Adele and Lady Gaga, you name it. Jay-Z, they all just went into a studio and recorded a song together. I mean, it doesn't happen anymore. In the 80s, it happened actually quite often. Got a little tiring after a while. But this is only the second time they did it. They did the Christmas song with Do They Know It's Christmas at All? And then they did this, and it is all the big stars of the day: Michael Jackson, Huey Lewis, Lionel Richie. I mean, you just name it. And they all got together, like 60 artists, and they all came into the studio in one night, and they recorded this song. And the story is unbelievable. Because it sounds like, all right, they walked in and they did it. What's the big fucking deal? But the way they got there is truly unbelievable. And it was all for a great cause back in the day. They were trying to end famine in Africa. And you just see just this unbelievable footage of Michael Jackson, how they created this song, which has become an iconic piece of music culture. To watch legends like Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder and just all these people sit there without an ego and record this song, and who's got solos and who doesn't, and what parts are you singing, and the harmonies and this and that, all this stuff. It's insane. For 90 minutes, you just sit there and you're like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe this is how they did it. When you watch it, you're going to come out of it and go, I can't believe this is how they did it. I can't believe this is how they did it. And there's some like sad part. There's a sad part. It may not be a huge sad part, but it was really sad for me. There are funny parts. There are interesting parts. I mean, when you have all those people and they're all hugely successful and wonderful artists, and they're going, maybe this way, that way. Like to watch them do that and figure out who's taking the lead and all, and the producers and the guys who recorded it and the mic techs and the people who filmed it, because they filmed the documentary, on it. It's all so unbelievable. The Greatest Night in Pop, 90-minute documentary on Netflix. That's my AOA Flicks picks for this weekend. You got to watch it this weekend. It is so worth it, especially, if you grew up in any part of the 80s or if you're nostalgic for the 80s. You're going to be so thrilled with it. It does start a little slow, but after a while, when you get in the room with them, you're like, what is going to happen here? What have we not heard about over the last 40 years? It's so thrilling and so wonderful. Cuddles and I both loved it. AOA Flicks Picks. Watch it this weekend on Netflix. Do they know about extension cords at all? To watch them, like, should we do this word? Should we do that word? Should we put that there and this there? And then you have such an unbelievably limited amount of time to get it done. Kind of a spoiler alert there. It's like, how do they all, it's just so good. It's just so good. The Greatest Night in Pop. Watch it on Netflix now. Can't encourage you enough. All right, that's it for us. Appreciate you guys on the hang. 2 solo shows this week. Oh, my dear Lord. Everybody, good night and have a great weekend and a wonderful weekend. Love to everyone. Quote from Bird. I reiterate, I believe the same. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Have a wonderful Super Bowl. We got a recipe from J Sabs we'll throw up on the site if you're looking for something good to make for the Super Bowl this weekend. I might even put out some of my football bets for you guys to follow along if that'll make it more interesting for you. Until then, we'll see you on Monday. Unless I hit that parlay. Then you'll never hear from me again.
Show me potato salad.
Maybe we should go now.